How do?
How do, Pádraig?
Sit somewhere else.
Huh? But I have my pint there, Colin.
He has his pint there, Colin, from when he came in and ordered his pint before.
No? Okay. I'll sit somewhere else, so.
Are you rowing?
I didn't think we were rowing.
Well, you are rowing. Well, you are rowing. He's sitting outside in his own like a whatchamacall.
It does look like we're rowing. I suppose I best go talk to him, so. See what all this is fecking about.
That'd be the best thing.
Welcome back to Late Night. That was a clip from the Banshees of Inisherin. We're here with two of the best, Brendan Gleeson and Colin Flair. A really lovely depiction, even though obviously a great deal of conflict, of how cozy, how warm pub life can be. You obviously shot inside for a great deal of this film. And you seem, I mean, obviously there's a great deal of drinking, as we see in that clip, but that's not the real Guinness.
Guinness Zero, thank God for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why thank God for Guinness Zero?
A couple of reasons. On the production, we would have had to drink just an unutterable amount of and it's not. It's actually really tasty, the Guinness Zero. It's a bit sweet for his tongue because he likes the proper stuff.
Yeah.
But they only came out with it, and it's delicious. And I've given it to a few other people who are, you know, stout aficionados who are like, Jesus, that's an 8. Yeah. That's an 8, you know? So I loved it. And plus, when I got to go home to Dublin the last time, I got to have a few pints with my mate, Rue. I was telling Brendan. Yeah. And it was the first time in about 16 years I got to sit in a pub for 4 hours and have 8 pints.
Yeah.
Of zero alcohol.
Yeah, the zero is the important part,
just
right?
To have that pint there and just have the chats, it was wonderful.
And also, I mean, on film sets, you always have to drink the fake stuff. What were they before Guinness?
I was going to say, he was the props guy.
Everything was ghastly. There was actual cream on the top of
grape juice
stuff.
with cream and all sorts of drink you shouldn't be mixing,
Black
you know?
Coke and stuff like that with a
Hurdles.
bunch of all sorts of unspeakables on top of it.
Yeah.
So it was okay, but if somebody, you know, if you had a lot of takes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you had a drink in it, it was just, I mean, il faut souffrir, they say. It's important to suffer for art, and this was suffering.
You, it did seem like, you know, this takes place in the 20s, very close quarters. The houses that you were in seemed cramped, but is that what, I mean, did you travel when you were young? Did you go on vacation to places like these islands?
Yeah, I have been going down there for a long time, and I think you spent...
I spent a little bit of time on there, and we shot on Inishmore when I was 17 or 18 with my brother for a weekend on the piss, but I can't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember Achill because there was a lot of mist and rain on the days that I was there. So it was fantastic, actually, just to go out and see it in all its magnificence. And
But I guess so. This is your home in the film.
On the most beautiful beach.
Gorgeous.
Extraordinary Keene Bay, wasn't it?
yeah, you're looking the wrong way. Out that way is...
Yeah.
That way looks out this way. The whole Atlantic is
That's
there.
just
It's
when
beautiful.
Morse bit me, actually.
That's exactly where Morse bit him.
Is this very triggering? Is
Yeah,
this triggering every time?
Ow! Ow!
It's very...
Phantom pain. Phantom pain.
We can't find any still from the film where you're not having just about to be bit or having just been bit.
I need a tetanus now.
Just from looking. There's a bit of you know, the fantastical and folklore, and the very title, you know, Banshees, plays into the film. Was that something when you were growing up? Was the you know, sort of the fantasy element a part of your lives at all?
In a kind of a way. We were both city boys, so it wasn't quite as prevalent in there. But there was a thing called the boogeyman, which I think you have a version of over here.
Yeah.
And you'd kind of tell each other's ghost stories and kind of frighten the life out of everybody.
Yeah.
And they would always, like, the older people would tell it to you before you go to bed. So you had to, like... So I always thought it was great fun because it was fun. You could get really scared, but you kind of, you know, you maybe would take a sly look around underneath the bed or wherever, but it never really frightened us. But I had to babysit a young German child at one point. They went out and they said, would you take care of him?
Good line.
I had never babysat anybody or anything before that, and I went in and I think this kid was about 4 or 5, and I told him the story about the boogeyman, and he was traumatized, essentially.
Yeah, because you're a very convincing actor. And so...
The parents came back and they said, "What have you done? What have you done to our child?" He was in there screaming. So, yeah, there was always a little bit of crossover between reality and the fictional.
Yeah.
Even in those days.
We, you mentioned you guys are both from Dublin. I went over with my family in August for a college football game. So my university played over there, and we went. And
university play there because I know the Navy and the Army play there usually.
Yeah, so we had it was Northwestern Nebraska and over there in that
Beautiful Park.
the beautiful football stadium, the new one.
Aviva?
Yeah, Aviva. And it was great, but
Did the people turn out?
people turned out. Yeah, it was. I wouldn't say it was full, but it was all right.
All right.
A lovely thing happened, which is the registers weren't working. There was no way to take money. And so
Shut up now. The registers work in Ireland.
I just found the
Come
whole.
to Ireland where the registers don't work.
Yeah.
It was like the whole time.
Get on the news on the television to see what was up, but there was no television.
It was great. The whole time I felt like I was in the 20s.
what
It was 19.
What happened though?
No, but it was about 15, 20 minutes. Everybody would be really happy. Being unhappy because nobody could get anything to drink. And then they just said, they basically said, everything's free. And which we thought was a great example of Irish hospitality. Which
God,
they
that's
basically-
amazing.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do to bust up the registers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, these days you just need to know one hacker. That's all. It is. Yeah, they just. But we spent the whole week being very charmed by the host
Where did
city.
you stay in Dublin, or did you head out west at all? Or?
My brother and parents went. They were golfing the weekend. I just went in for the game. But we had a very charming taxi driver who had the most Dublin of lines, I think. Which is we got into the car, and my mom will ask a lot of questions. She's somebody who she wants to know the day. And we get in the car, and she says, "All right, I have a lot of questions about what we're doing today." And the taxi driver, mind you, this is someone we've known all of 15 seconds, said, "I'll tell you what we're going to do today. One, I'm going to drop you off at the pub, and two, you're going to stop asking so many questions."
Lovely. Oh my God.
And, I can't believe we had to go all the way to Ireland to get someone to tell my mom
to
the
put
thing
her in
we've
her
been
place.
wanting to tell her.
That is because all taxi drivers in Dublin think of themselves as talk show hosts. Where they do the talking.
It's just such a wonderful film. I should also say your co-stars, Carrie and Barry, are just wonderful.
Isn't Carrie extraordinary in the film?
She's extraordinary. I'm very excited. She's coming on here as well, and I can't
when
wait.
is
I
she
can't
coming
wait
on?
to tell her in person.
You love her. She's brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Kerry brought tears to eyes that you would not imagine you can bring tears to.
Yeah.
That performance is extraordinary, it really
She's
is.
gut-wrenching in it. Yeah, she's gut-wrenching.
And funny and brilliant,
Yeah.
there's such a vivacity about her. So it was a bit like that. Like Martin had worked with all that cast, apart from Barry Keoghan, who was also kind of pretty amazing in it. And he knew the people he was dealing with. So part of the writing was allowing them to bring what they bring. And you can kind of tell it was just, I don't think there's a false note in it.
It really isn't. And I say this about no films. When it was over, I thought, I could have spent another hour with everybody there. So it's really great. And it's just always such a joy to have you both
Great
here
to
with
see
us.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Colin,
very much.
Brendan. The Banshees of Inisherin will be in theaters everywhere October 21st. We'll be right back with more Late Night.